Hi, this is Brandy with Zoom Roses, and I am back with another arrangement for fall. This one is our spooky skeleton arrangement. So much fun for October and for Halloween. I found these containers at the Dollar Tree. They have them in 3 different colors. They have gold, silver, and kind of this black oil slick metallic. When you order them, you will get a combination of the 3 colors, or you can go and purchase them at the store and get one specific color, but I love all of the colors. And we are using flowers today from our fall mix box. So what you're going to need are, of course, your skeleton containers. You are going to need a half of a brick of the Smithers Oasis foam, a little bit of waterproof tape, and from your fall mix box, you're going to need your Red Rover daisies, these big, beautiful daisies, 2 stems of the yellow daisies that you get, or the Vyking poms will work as well, 2 stems of the red daisies, 2 stems of the tinted orange solidago, 2 stems of the fall cushion, and then a little bit of greenery. Now I pulled some greenery from our autumn pre-made bouquets, but you can just use 2 stems of leatherleaf, 2 stems of pit, and you should be just fine. This has a lot of flowers in it. So let's get started. First, you're going to use 1 half brick of your Smithers Oasis foam. Slide it down in there. Make sure your kids don't push too hard on the foam because it can actually lose some of its integrity if you try to smush it. And it should stick up above the skeleton head. I'm going to use a little bit of waterproof tape across the top just to secure it. And you may not know this, but you can actually hit waterproof tape with a lighter just right here on the sides, and once it gets warm it will stick a lot better. So you can do that just like that. And then let's start with our greenery. Again, we're just using the greenery to cover up the mechanics. So let's take our leather leaf. I like to piece it apart. Let me move this out of the way, put it right there. Some of my less pretty pieces I like to use in a place where they're going to get covered up. The other pieces I put around the sides. Just like that. Use it to cover up all of those mechanics. Now pit usually will have several different pieces that you can cut and use. So I will pull them apart, cut them apart, and use them in different places around the arrangement. Just trying to create a little bit of coverage on the sides where I might not be able to put flowers. Okay. And then any pieces that aren't the prettiest, I will still use them, but I put them in a place that I know is going to be covered with flowers. So again, using some of this pit to cover up the foam. Right there. So now you have a nice circle of greenery around the edges. I'll even take small pieces off the bottom of leather leaf and use it just like that. Now I have a piece of sago palm that came out of our fall pre-made bouquet. And if you don't have this, it's fine. You can use any type of greenery that you want in this case. But I do like this. It gives it a nice sharp look. So I'll cut it in half and use the top on one side and the bottom part on the other side, just like that. Now I'm gonna check it. Looks like it's pretty darn covered. And then at the end, if I have any spaces that need some greenery, I can fill that in. So the first thing I'm going to do in this case is actually use my solidago, and these are going to be fairly large pieces of tinted solidago. So I'm going to cut the top part off And then I'm gonna find a few different places where I can cut it off so that one piece now becomes 4, 5, 6 pieces. And now I'm just going to go in different spots all around this circular arrangement and fill it in with solidago. You can also see I've got a whole bunch right here, and these are fairly long pieces with sturdy stems. So I might pull these off just like this and use them individually at the end to fill in with more orange. So we're not quite done with the solidago. Once we put the big pieces in, we're going to go back and we're going to fill in. Just like this. But I want to make sure that I get some fairly large pieces of solidago all throughout this arrangement. So I'm going to take these pieces, like I said, I'm going to pull them apart individually, and then I'm going to set them aside and come back to them at the end to fill in. Okay? Now let's go to our Red Rover daisies. Now these are our focal flowers, and I do have 2 of them. Now here's kind of a rule of thumb when you're using 2 of something. If it's a focal flower and it has a round shape, never put them at the same height because you're gonna look like you have a pair of eyes, okay? If you have 2 laterals, never put them at the same height because you're going to look like you have bunny ears. So you're going to want to make sure that you put one just a little bit higher than the other. Okay, I'm gonna turn this around just for a second so I can take a look. I'm going to place one of these a little bit further down and one just a little bit taller. Again, sinking it down into the foam as best I can. And this also allows me to take a moment to make a few adjustments to the solidago. There we go, see? And if I were to have placed those at the same height, they would look like 2 big eyes. So we don't want that. Now we get to fill in with all of our daisies. Now, you're going to have tons of blooms on these daisy stems. So I like to find a place about halfway down where I can cut the top off, and I can use this part first. So I'm going to place this one about right here. And if I place a red daisy over here, I'm going to come across the arrangement and I'm going to find another place where I can put a big grouping of red daisies. I don't want them all bunched up in the same place. So I'll go across the arrangement, and if I went low here, then I'll go a little bit higher over here. I'm going to take these individual blooms that I didn't use, and I'm going to cut them and set them aside so that I can come back and fill in with those here in just a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same with this set. And you are going to get quite a bit of flowers out of these daisy stems. So I'm going to put one in the back, just like this. And then since I have a taller set, maybe I'll come over here. Okay. I have a few daisy stems left. I'm going to cut those, set them aside, and then continue on with my yellow. Now yellow is kind of, it can overpower the other flowers in the arrangement. So when I put these in, I want to make sure that I have a good distribution of these all around the arrangement, not just in one place, because the eye will be drawn to the yellow before it's drawn to anything else. So maybe put some up here. I'm going to put those aside so I can use them in a moment. I'm going to cut the top off of this one. And if you think that it looks too thick, there are too many blooms, pull some of those off. You can come back and use them later. So we're going to put some right here. Again, because I have some over here, I'm going to put some over on the opposite side. And then this is quite a large stem of yellow daisy, so I'm getting a lot out of this. Put some in the back. And once I turn this around, I guarantee you I'm going to find places where I need to distribute those extra yellow daisies because I don't think I have any in the front. I'm going to turn it around for a moment. And I'm going to place a few of these yellow daisies down the front in between the red daisies and the Red Rover, the large Red Rover daisies, just to make sure. So I've added a few of these yellow daisies to the front where I saw there were some places that needed that pop of yellow. And turning it around now, I definitely see where I'm going to need some of the orange solidago in the center. But again, we have a lot that we can work with here, so we'll come back to that. Now let's go to our fall cushion. Again, you're going to have so many blooms that you can piece this apart and add it as needed to fill in the blanks. And one of these, not so much the top piece, not this, but this is great to put right here in the center so that some of these fall cushion are sticking up a little bit higher than the rest of the arrangement, just to give it some negative space. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to put it right here in the center. Sometimes you have to fill your way into the foam. So now I've got some height up here, very nice. I've even got another piece that came off of that one. So I'm gonna put it back here and let it stick up higher than the rest of the arrangement. Making sure I get it securely into the foam. And then this small piece, I need something over here. And now I still even have more of the fall cushion to work with. So now I'm going to take the top part, which is usually when you cut it ends up being about 3 to 4 blooms, and just find places that need to be filled in. I'm going to turn this around for a moment. You can also see the back, how it's getting filled in all the way around. How this is just such a super fun, festive arrangement that I really think people are going to love for the month of October. It can be a little bit wild and crazy. It is a skeleton head, so it doesn't have to be perfect as far as shape goes. I love the round shape, but I also love that some of these daisies can be placed very deeply. Just because it has a short stem doesn't mean you can't use it. You can actually kind of place it deep into the arrangement to give it depth. So some of these daisies that have short stems, I'm going to find a hole where it needs something and stick it down below the line of the other flowers. Now all I need to do is go back in and fill in with some of this solidago, especially here, kind of in the center and the top. And these can easily be pushed into the foam. They should have a strong enough stem that they can support themselves. I'm gonna fill in all the way around with the solidago, and it will last for quite a while because it's tinted. Even if it dries out, it's still gonna look great. Okay, turn it around and check it. I'm going to fill in a few more places and we should be done. And this is a quick, fun arrangement for your kids for the month of October. Okay, all right. There is our spooky skeleton arrangement for Halloween, and I hope your kids absolutely love this arrangement. It is so much fun. And you have lots of fun things left over to play with here to do little short teacup arrangements, or you can make some body jewelry with it. So, hope you enjoyed this one.